Hey, what's happening? It's Bill Smith. So we just had the G7 summit. It's the United States and its biggest trade allies, I guess. There's other ways to look at that meeting, but that's what that's the official story. He snubbed Justin Trudeau on this equality thing. I'm going to talk about that in a second. George Soros is freaked out. He's saying that everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. That's good for us, man. Also, I just want to drop in there, some people have been talking about how George Soros is a major stake owner in Netflix. So when you join other conversations that have people connected to Netflix who are releasing information that, we kind of rely on to Netflix, understand that this is the person who owns it. It's just like Snopes, man. If something makes it to Netflix, you should probably question that. So I'll go into that later, but I just want to say that George Soros is not having a good week. He sees the Italian stuff, the populist uprising in Italy. He sees it all slipping away, man. They just got booted from Hungary. It could be the beginning of the end for everything George Soros has worked his way up to supporting. So I'm going to move on. This is released this morning. It talks about how the moods were pretty sour there. It's like it's the G6 versus us. It's Trump versus 6 other leaders of other nations. Now, what they'll do is they'll say, well, there's 6 of us and there's 1 of you. And then what I'll say is that our country is bigger than all 6 of your countries put together. And we don't need to get along because we already got a one country. Screw you. That's kind of where I get. The United States is the reason, okay? We can do whatever we want. And that's what people now I think are starting to wake up to. We can do whatever we want. Whatever we want. Let me make that clear. We can do whatever we want. And all you can do is make stupid ass faces because you're crying because we can do whatever we want. So Trump's the first president, I think, that's kind of been let off the chain, so to speak, not to carry the globalist water. The dude's tearing down everything that they worked to create in order to screw us all over. And there's a reason why we're upside down in every single trade deal we have. That giant sucking sound, that is the sound of all of our wealth leaving the United States. So obviously, these people are not happy to hear about it. So the big story was, people stared at Trump. That's because they can't do anything about it. That's what people don't get. We can do whatever we want. We don't need to get along with other countries, okay? I don't understand why people are so, attached to that. Peter Freak, whatever that guy is, Dr. Pozniak on InfoWars, he'll tell you that Goldman Sachs, you need to listen to Goldman Sachs because they're good. And Trump can't do trade wars. Dude, it's not a war when you hold everything and every other country on the planet is upside down and stealing money from you. You just show up and you're like, yeah, we're not going to trade with you anymore. And then watch them scramble. So I have videos I never uploaded, but it talks about how, the Chinese have come out and threatened Trump and they'd say, we're going to, beat your ass basically, buddy. And then Trump's like, 2 days later, they're like, okay, let's solve this problem. Let's solve this problem. People who hold all the cards are not willing to go out of their way to, quote, solve the problem. They already have everything they want, okay? And that's what people need to understand when we do anything economical. The United States is the biggest economy on the planet. Okay, we have the most amount of business freedoms. We just lowered the tax rate on corporations. The United States is open for business, and people aren't going to get away with stealing our money anymore. That's all they can do. Look, that's literally all they can do is make faces. Okay, now the interesting part is this human being right here, that human being, that human being's name is Christine Lagarde. She's the head of the IMF. And, she was touted as like, oh, look, we have a woman leader of the IMF. Yay, yay, yay. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, that's a man. That's a man. That's a man. And so is Chrissy Teigen. And you'll hear more about her in the coming weeks, I think. She's going to tie into Huber here pretty soon. There's someone you can go find on Twitter. I'll show you the account here in a second. It's Lavender Lives. She's been sending me some stuff. I can't retweet anything that she posts. So I've made mistakes on Twitter before. I know I've tweeted, 800 and something tweets, but I've only been, Twitter's 12 years old, man. I've been using, that's a guy, by the way. Don't forget that. That is a man. Okay, Christine Lagarde is a man. That's a man. That's a transgender man, woman, whatever you want to call it. I don't know which way you go on that one, but that's a man. Moving on. I thought this was hilarious. See, Trump holding his hand. See, look, he's got a divot in his finger. See that? It's that white. So he shook hands with Macron, and if you've been paying attention to the handshake game for the last year, right? Trump is he's just been making Macron his little biatch. That's what he's been making him. It's funny to watch the body language because he just bullies him so openly. At that time, whenever he was he shook Macron's hand in the streets of Paris for 3 minutes and then kissed Macron's wife while he was doing it. I was like, dude. I think Macron's been Macron's been using those squeezers, those hand squeezers. They got him in the gym working out because just defeating Trump's handshake has been a thing. Look, here he is. They're like, hey, they planned this out. I'm telling you, this picture was planned out. They planned this moment so they could finally get a picture of Macron, body language getting one over on our president. And it's fake, It's just it's not true. They had to practice it. If they have to practice it, it's not authentic, and that's what happened there. Here's some more stuff. I mentioned this earlier. Okay, that's a dude. Look, that's a man. That's a man. Christine Lagarde is a man. I just want to make that really clear, okay? Kate Upton is a woman. Okay, there's lots of beautiful women in the world who are real women. So don't go overshooting the mark here with your flat earth stuff saying Kate Upton is a transgender or something. It's not true, but that is. That is a transgender. Christine Lagarde is a transgender. Interesting part is, Trump disrupts the G7 gender equality meeting by arriving late. God, I love this dude. I love him. We finally got a president who's like, yeah, no, I'm not down with that stuff anymore. Good for us. Figured I'd toss this back in there. I've already covered this, all right, but the Anthony Bourdain, Barack Obama stuff was interesting, and the other interesting part is I went back and I watched the actual video of them sitting in that cafe talking, and you know what they talk about? They talk about John McCain, and they talk about how globalism is a good thing. That's what they talked about. I thought I'd toss that in there for you. Oh, by the way, also, I think this is the guy that eats brains, right? Doesn't Anthony Bourdain like to eat brains in Thailand? Pig's brains. I've also heard some stuff about how Anthony Bourdain has been down to Antarctica. I thought that was very interesting. So if you want to check out that video I was talking about, and Hanoi. I think it's Hanoi, but I like Hanoi. And if you go watch this video right here, the one I was talking about, Anthony Bourdain says it both ways. So get off my back. I'm going to keep saying Hanoi. I think people understand what I'm saying when I say that. So don't be the verbal police, man. You got better things to do with your life. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, and this is how I think that Chrissy Teigen stuff is going to pop back up. I don't know how I saw this on here, but this is the handle. It's @LavenderLives. And look, man, I'm not able to retweet anything here. I can like it, So I'm logged in. I made that mistake before. Someone caught that in a previous video. I'm clearly logged in there. I cannot retweet this. I can't retweet anything from what she's. I can't retweet that. Can't retweet this. Not allowed to retweet anything. I can comment on it all I want. I can like it, but I cannot put it on my own Twitter account. I can't retweet it. So there's stuff in here that I'm not going to get into. I just thought this is interesting enough for me to show everybody. I wanted a chance to talk to this person today, but I didn't get a chance. I woke up late. If you saw my video last night, oh, by the way, so I make personal journals just so I can get things off my chest that I don't think are really, pertinent to the conversation. But I did that video after 3 or 4 beers. You can probably hear me drinking beer while I'm doing it, but I did the video because I want you to see how far I've come. Because when I started, no one was watching anything I was saying, even though what I was saying, no one else was saying. I was the first person probably on the internet to say the Mueller investigation was fake and false and phony. And now, I think the Rudolph Contreras stuff, people missed that. He was on the FISA court, and that was the guy that Flynn was supposed to be brought in front of, and he had to recuse himself. So you can go back and look at those first few videos. No one's seen them. I think it's got like 200 views. But I uploaded my personal journal last night because I want more people to get involved in the online news game. And there's plenty of room for everyone. Let me just tell you that. Okay, if you think that everything is being covered, I can promise you it's not. I probably will not be able to get to this. So if someone wanted to read through this thread, there is fantastic information here. It talks about this Trolley Square Mall massacre shooting that took these kids out. They had patents in their name. What else? It ties into Huber. Huber knows how this stuff all works. And then, the Chrissy Teigen stuff got brought up. So no one is covering this. No one's going to cover it. And you could go create a YouTube account and you could just present all this information better than what I did. Go deep dive. That's how you can get a news channel started. You cover one story that no one else has covered yet. Or cover something that someone else has covered, but do an update a year later with all the rest of the information that video didn't have inside of it. There's opportunities here for everyone. So just let me make that really clear. That's what the personal journal was about. Don't focus on subscribers or views. I know in that video I did point out the view counts, but I was trying to show you that some of the early stuff didn't get anything, and then other stuff, it just kind of hit like this magic moment, So don't get down because you make a video and it only gets 50 views or 10 views. You'll find an audience, I'm telling you. You will find an audience, so get in the game. Okay, now this is where I'll leave the video. There is clearly something happening in Tucson, Arizona. Clearly. Right? And the people that want to disregard one piece of evidence, or they want to say the skull is from a grown-up man when it's clearly a kid's skull. I mean, it's a tiny skull, right? There's, Alex Jones. How is it that ABC shows a picture of the, quote, homeless camp, but Alex Jones on InfoWars doesn't? He shows you a picture of an empty desert. It's because they don't want you to talk about this. Now, I don't follow this really closely, but I want to tell you that when you find someone who's actually honest and is doing good work, okay, they're good to follow. So I try to make friends with people that I know are legit. It's not to say that we don't get things wrong from time to time. That's totally cool. You need to move forward the conversation and add something. And what I see people doing is this Craig Sawyer guy, and I can tell you I don't know anything about it, but I know that people really like him. He's got a huge following online. And now he's got a video coming out on Netflix, and I can tell you that just on my baseline search, Craig Sawyer has never done anything in the world that has had an impact. All right, so I got a few more minutes. I'm going to point a few other things out. So a few minutes ago, see how this Operation Backyard Brawl, see how it's not capitalized? Right, but see how Operation Backyard Brawl is? So sometimes if you go look for this tag, you won't see this at all. This won't even be up there. It wasn't up there 5 minutes ago, okay? It just showed back up. This is what shows up, these misspellings on Twitter hashtags. So Twitter is working to smash this thing down, and now you got handles trying to ride that wave saying, I stand with Israel, because they know where it's going. Israel Gate is upon us. Pay attention and look at that. Till next time, this is Bill Smith.